Hey YouTube, what is going on? My name is Josh, and today we're going to be going over a few of the busking effects that I use in my show day to day, and how you can apply gobo and focus punting effects into your file, and exactly what makes it so good and what makes it useful. So first I want to get started off with showing what I have right now in the demo is the Roby BMFL spots and the Roby point. So specifically with the BMFL, I'm going to be showing over a few different gobo effects that you can apply to your show. So right now I want to show the few gobos that I have in this wheel right now. Just 3 different types of gobos on this rotating gobo wheel, and obviously an open. So whenever people normally apply gobo rotations, they store a preset, such as this gobo rotation right here, and the entire rig will normally rotate one direction or the other direction, depending on however you artistically choose. However, some people want to make a symmetrical selection and make it rotate either towards the center or towards the outside. So here's a little trick that you can do where when you create an effect, you will have the position attribute in your effect. You'll give it a form of a PWM and give it a rate of 0, with its low and high value being its max and min rotation. And what that'll do is make your rotations go towards each other, specifically when you apply groups of 2, 3, 4, however. And if you start increasing the groups, you can see that the rotations start to change. And I'll show that when you apply the effect to a temp fader. If I start bringing that up, you will start being able to see the rotation spinning towards each other. Now if I start changing the groups, let's say back to 2, rotations change. If I change it to one group, now they all rotate in one direction. So I want to keep that sort of odd even rotation of in group of 2, and that's about it for that rotation effect. Now what this does is the PWM creates sort of a width with the temp fader. So the width of the effect, essentially imagine something getting wider as its range of rotation. Now how exactly does this work? How does it know to go from this speed up from the center stop point? Well, what you're going to have to do is you're going to have to find out what your rotation stop point is and apply that to your default profile. So I will go into my BMFL and gobo, and I'm just going to select a rotating gobo, and then I'm going to find out what that stop value is, which is 50.2. So now that I know that my stop value for my rotation is 50.2, I'm going to go into my setup, patch and fixture schedule, and I'm going to edit that rotation value down here, the gobo position right here. I'm going to set that to 50.2. I keep this as my default in all my profiles, and I normally update that before all my shows just to make sure everything's set up correctly. So now that that's set, you're off and ready to do your gobo rotation from an effect. And let's say I need to update and clone this over. All I need to do is update my left max rotation, my right max rotation, and it should work. And I can change my gobos, and the rotation will apply to every single gobo that I have applied, as long as that is a rotating gobo wheel. Now how about zoom? What can I do with zoom? Well, right now I have points up, and I have my most narrow zoom right here, and I can also go to my most wide zoom about that. It's about a 40-degree zoom on a point. So how can I bust my point to an effect? Well, do the same idea as what I said before. We have a form of PWM, a speed of 0, and you have your low and high value being your most narrow zoom and your most wide zoom. Then what we did before is we found the center point, so it's medium. Or sorry. And so what we're going to do from here is that we are going to find its narrow zoom, which is it's going to be 0 on this fixture. We're going to go into the fixture and patch schedule. We're going to go and edit the fixture type for the points. We're going to find its zoom right here, and we're going to make sure that's defaulted to 0. And now, instead of storing a temp fader with an effect, I can all of a sudden change my groups and my wings, and I can create unique zoom effects. So if I start changing, my wings, my groups, let's just change the wings to 4, groups of 4, all of a sudden my zoom is going to be completely different. Now if I change it to wings of 2, now the outsides are zoomed, change it to groups of 2, now it's every other symmetrically. And now all these effects rely on a symmetrical selection of your rig from left to right, normally snaking through. If you want a tutorial to that, I will leave a link down in the description to Christian Jackson's tutorial over symmetrical selections. And this effect can be applied to other things, so let's go over how I might apply that to a prism live. So let's grab the Roby BMFL spot, and I'm going to store the prism. So let's bring this up, and there's my prism effect in 3D. And let's create a new palette for my beams. And we'll store that prism right there. There we go. There's my prism. Let me go back to an open. Gobo. There we go. All right. So how will I make a symmetrical rotation? Well, I got to find the stop point for my prism, which I have another tab, thankfully, which will be at 50.2. It's how most fixtures are when they have their stop rotation. It's going to be at that 50.2 mark, so that's a safe bet to start at. So we're going to go into Edit, Effects Wheel, Effects Index Rotation, and we're going to set that to 50.2. Clear that out. We're going to create a new effect from my BMFLs. And we're going to go down, and we're going to find Effect Rotation. All right, now that that's set up, we're going to set up the values. So PWM, rate is 0. Let's give it a groups of 2 for now. And I'll come back and set these low high values in a second. So now we have that set. Let's store that prism to an executor. Let's have that going. So now I can see my prism. And now all I need to do is go through and get my left and right rotations. So my left rotation will go all the way that direction. My right rotation go all the way in the other direction. I'm going to call that P left, P right. Go in my effect, left, right. Start running that, and there's my symmetrical prism rotation. Let's make that a temp fader, and now it's rotating towards the center. And as easy as that, you can create a symmetrical prism rotation. And that's about it for this tutorial. I'll be releasing a few more tutorials going over some of my busking techniques that I use in all my shows, and hopefully give you a live view into me using these effects. And thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. Check the description for any of the links provided to any of these fixtures. And if you have any questions, leave a comment, and I'll hopefully get back to you. Thank you.